Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever done everything right? Eaten less, walked more, cut out the sweets, and still looked down and seen that belly right there refusing to move? If you're over 60, this is one of the most frustrating things I hear from my patients. And here's what I tell them: it's not your fault. And it's not because you're not trying hard enough. It's because after 60, your body plays by completely different rules. I'm Dr. William Lee, and on this channel, Aging Strong Together, we talk about the science your body actually needs, not the generic advice that's designed for 35-year-olds. Today, I want to share something that genuinely excites me as a physician and researcher. There are 7 specific foods, common, affordable, and absolutely delicious, that are scientifically shown to reduce the most dangerous kind of belly fat your body carries. And here's the part that surprises most people: the best time for these foods to do their work is while you sleep. Stay with me, because what you're about to learn could change how you eat tonight. First, let's make sure we're talking about the same thing, because not all belly fat is created equal. When most people think about belly fat, they think about the fat they can pinch. That's called subcutaneous fat. It sits just under the skin. It's not ideal, but it's relatively harmless. Visceral fat is completely different. This fat wraps itself around your internal organs, your liver, your pancreas, your heart. You can't see it, you can't pinch it, and most people don't even know they have too much of it. And here's why it matters so much after 60. Visceral fat is metabolically active. That means it behaves almost like a separate organ. It pumps out inflammatory chemicals, disrupts your hormones, and quietly raises your risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even certain cancers. After 60, 2 things happen that make this worse. Estrogen drops in women. Testosterone drops in men. Both of those hormones helped keep fat off your midsection for decades. And at the same time, cortisol, your stress hormone, tends to run higher. Cortisol is one of the most powerful triggers for visceral fat storage. The other piece of this puzzle: sleep. Here's something most doctors don't have time to explain in a 15-minute appointment. Your deepest sleep, what we call slow wave sleep or deep sleep, is the window when your body does its most intense fat burning. This is when growth hormone spikes. This is when insulin sensitivity resets. This is when your body shifts into repair and recovery mode. So the question becomes, what can we eat to support that process? What foods work with your overnight biology instead of against it? That's exactly what I'm going to show you now. Let's start with one of my personal favorites, and I think it's going to surprise you. Tart cherries, not the sweet cherries you might put in a pie, but specifically the sour tart variety, are one of the very few natural food sources of melatonin. We all know melatonin as the sleep hormone, but here's what most people don't know. Melatonin isn't just about falling asleep. Research published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that tart cherry juice significantly increased both melatonin levels and sleep duration in adults. Longer, deeper sleep means more time in that fat-burning window we just talked about. But tart cherries do something else that's just as important. They contain powerful anti-inflammatory compounds called anthocyanins. These are the pigments that give cherries their deep red color. Studies show that anthocyanins can reduce cortisol levels, specifically the evening cortisol spike that tells your body to store fat around your midsection. Less cortisol at night, better sleep, more growth hormone. That's a triple win for visceral fat. Doctor's tip: have 8 ounces of unsweetened tart cherry juice about an hour before bed, or a small handful of dried tart cherries. Avoid the sweetened varieties. You want the tart ones. Now, this one you may have heard before, but probably not for this reason. Yes, salmon, sardines, and mackerel are rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Most people think of omega-3s for heart health, and that's true. But here's the piece the headlines often miss. Omega-3 fatty acids directly activate a hormone called adiponectin. Adiponectin is produced by your fat cells. But here's the irony: the more visceral fat you have, the less adiponectin your body makes. It's one of the reasons visceral fat is self-perpetuating. Low adiponectin means less fat burning, which means more visceral fat. Omega-3s break that cycle. Multiple studies have shown that EPA and DHA, the types of omega-3 found in fatty fish, can raise adiponectin levels, improve your body's response to insulin, and reduce the inflammation that drives visceral fat accumulation. For those of us over 60, there's one more bonus. Omega-3s help preserve muscle mass, and muscle is your metabolism's best friend. More muscle means more calories burned even while you rest and sleep. Doctor's tip: aim for 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week. Sardines are one of the most affordable, sustainable options, and they're incredibly nutrient dense. If you're on blood thinners, check with your doctor before significantly increasing your fish intake. I want you to picture the most powerful little nighttime snack you could eat. For me, that's walnuts. Walnuts are unique among nuts because they contain three things that specifically support overnight fat metabolism. First, they're rich in ALA, alpha linolenic acid, which is a plant based omega 3. Second, they contain melatonin. Yes, walnuts are actually one of the few plant foods with measurable melatonin content. And third, walnuts are high in polyphenols that feed beneficial gut bacteria overnight, which in turn affects how your body processes and stores fat. A study from the University of California found that regular walnut consumption was associated with significantly lower visceral fat deposits, even without changes in total calorie intake. The researchers believe the combination of healthy fats, fiber, and bioactive compounds changes the metabolic environment in a way that specifically targets fat storage around the organs. Walnuts also help regulate blood sugar levels, which reduces those nighttime insulin spikes that tell your body to store rather than burn. Doctor's tip: one small handful, about 7 to 10 walnut halves, is the perfect evening portion. Eat them about 90 minutes before bed. Don't eat the whole bag. They're calorie dense, but that small serving is genuinely powerful. This one has completely transformed how I think about weight management in my older patients. Over the last decade, the science of the gut microbiome has exploded. And one of the most consistent findings, the composition of bacteria in your gut, is directly linked to how much visceral fat you carry. People with higher amounts of harmful gut bacteria and lower amounts of beneficial bacteria consistently show higher levels of visceral fat. These bacteria affect how you extract energy from food, how you produce hormones, and even how inflamed your body becomes overnight. Kefir, the fermented milk drink, and plain Greek yogurt are two of the most accessible, most studied probiotic foods we have. Kefir, in particular, contains up to 61 different strains of beneficial bacteria and yeasts. Research published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that probiotic-rich foods were associated with measurable reductions in visceral fat over just 12 weeks without any other dietary changes. The mechanism is fascinating. Beneficial gut bacteria produce short-chain fatty acids that directly regulate fat storage hormones, reduce gut inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity, all of which happen most actively overnight. Doctor's tip: 1 cup of plain full-fat kefir or Greek yogurt in the evening is ideal. Avoid the flavored versions loaded with added sugar. That completely defeats the purpose. You can add a drizzle of honey or a few berries if you need sweetness. If I could only recommend one spice to every patient over 60, it would be turmeric. And here's exactly why it belongs on this list. Visceral fat and chronic inflammation are deeply intertwined. Visceral fat causes inflammation, and inflammation causes more visceral fat. It's a vicious cycle, and the primary driver of that cycle at the cellular level is a protein complex called NFKB, nuclear factor kappa B. NFKB acts like an on switch for inflammation throughout the body. Curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, is one of the most well-studied natural inhibitors of NFKB in existence. Multiple clinical trials have shown that curcumin supplementation significantly reduces inflammatory markers, visceral fat volume, and waist circumference in overweight adults. But here's the critical detail most people miss. Curcumin alone is very poorly absorbed by the body. It gets broken down before it can do its work. The solution: black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which increases the bioavailability of curcumin by up to 2,000%. That's not a typo, 2,000%. So always pair turmeric with black pepper. Always. Doctor's tip: my favorite evening ritual is a warm mug of golden milk, 1 cup of warm milk or oat milk, 1 teaspoon of turmeric, a pinch of black pepper, and optionally a little cinnamon. It's comforting. It's anti-inflammatory, and it supports deep sleep. You can also add turmeric and black pepper liberally to soups, stews, or roasted vegetables. I know avocado shows up on every health list, but there's a specific reason it belongs here, and it goes beyond healthy fats. Avocados are one of the richest sources of potassium in the food supply, actually higher than bananas, which surprises most people. And potassium plays a specific role in overnight fat metabolism that almost nobody talks about. Here's the connection. When potassium levels are low, your body struggles to regulate cortisol. And as we discussed, cortisol is the primary trigger for visceral fat storage. Adequate potassium helps keep your cortisol curves smooth and stable through the night, which creates a more favorable hormonal environment for fat burning. The monounsaturated fats in avocado, primarily oleic acid, also have a specific effect on adipose tissue. Research from Penn State University found that people who ate avocado daily showed significant reductions in visceral abdominal fat compared to those who didn't, even when total calorie intake was matched. Avocados also contain a unique type of dietary fiber that feeds your gut bacteria in ways that specifically reduce visceral fat accumulation. Everything in this food works together. Doctor's tip: half an avocado at dinner or as an evening snack is the sweet spot. Add it to salads, mix it with a little olive oil and lemon as a dressing, or just eat it simply with a pinch of salt. Don't stress about the fat content. These are exactly the fats your body needs after 60. Our final superfood is one that consistently surprises people when I mention it, and it may be the most important one on this list for men and women over 60. Pumpkin seeds, also called pepitas, are one of the best food sources of two minerals that are absolutely critical for overnight fat burning: magnesium and zinc. Let's start with magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including the regulation of cortisol, the production of melatonin, and the activation of AMK, a cellular enzyme that essentially tells your cells to burn fat for fuel. Studies consistently show that people with higher magnesium levels have better sleep quality and lower visceral fat deposits. Now, zinc, this is especially important for anyone over 60. Zinc is essential for the production of testosterone in both men and women. Testosterone isn't just a male hormone. In women, it plays a critical role in maintaining muscle mass and regulating fat distribution, specifically around the midsection. As we age, both zinc levels and testosterone decline. Restoring zinc through food is one of the gentlest, most natural ways to support healthy testosterone levels and improve body composition. 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds provides 37% of your daily magnesium needs and 14% of your zinc. That's extraordinary for such a small, simple food. Doctor's tip: a small palm full of raw or dry roasted pumpkin seeds in the evening is one of the best things you can do for your sleep quality and overnight fat metabolism. Sprinkle them on salads, mix them into yogurt, or just eat them plain. They're also delicious toasted with a pinch of sea salt. Before we wrap up, I want to connect one more dot because the foods we just covered are only half the picture. Sleep and visceral fat are locked in a two-way relationship. Poor sleep makes visceral fat worse. More visceral fat makes sleep worse. Breaking that cycle requires you to take sleep as seriously as you take diet. When you sleep less than 6 hours a night, your body produces more grain, that's the hunger hormone, and less leptin, which is the hormone that signals fullness. The result: you wake up hungry, you crave carbohydrates, and your metabolism is running slower than it should be. The 7 foods I shared today all support sleep in different ways. Melatonin from cherries and walnuts, magnesium from pumpkin seeds, anti-inflammatory compounds from turmeric and fish. But there are a few simple habits that amplify their effect significantly. Try to eat your last meal 2 to 3 hours before bed. This gives your digestive system time to settle so your body can shift into repair mode rather than digestion mode during sleep. Keep your bedroom cool and dark. This sounds basic, but even small improvements in sleep environment can meaningfully increase the time you spend in deep, slow-wave sleep, which, as we discussed, is your peak fat-burning window. And try to avoid alcohol in the evenings. I know many people find a glass of wine relaxing, but alcohol disrupts the second half of your sleep cycle, reducing the deep sleep that's so critical for growth, hormone release, and fat metabolism. Quick pause here. If you found this useful so far, please hit the like button right now. It only takes a second and it genuinely helps YouTube show this video to more people over 60 who need this information. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click that button and ring the bell. We put out new science-backed health videos every week specifically designed for people in their 60s and beyond. Okay, let's finish strong with your action plan. So let me give you something concrete to take away from today. I call it the evening plate formula, and it's simply a way of thinking about your dinner and evening snacks that puts all 7 of these superfoods to work for you. Think of your evening plate in 3 parts. Your protein anchor. This is where your fatty fish goes. Salmon, sardines, or mackerel 2 to 3 nights a week. Your living foods. Half your plate should be vegetables with avocado added as a healthy fat source and turmeric and black pepper used generously in your cooking. Your gut and sleep supporters, this is your evening kefir or Greek yogurt, your small handful of walnuts or pumpkin seeds, and your glass of tart cherry juice or warm golden milk before bed. None of this is complicated. None of it requires a special diet plan or expensive supplements. This is real food eaten in a way that works with your body's natural overnight biology. Now, I want to be honest with you the way a doctor should be. These foods are not magic. You won't wake up in a week and see dramatic change. What you will experience over 4 to 8 weeks of consistency is a gradual shift in how you feel. Better sleep, less inflammation, more energy. And over time, your body will begin to shed that stubborn visceral fat because the hormonal environment that was storing it is starting to change. You are not too old for this. Your body at 60, 70, even 80 is still responding to the signals you send it every single day. It's never too late to give your body what it needs. I'd love to know which of these 7 foods are you already eating and which ones are new to you. Drop it in the comments below. I read every one. And if you want to go deeper on any of these topics, sleep and aging, gut health, or managing inflammation after 60, we have full videos on every one of those. Check the description for links. I'm Dr. William Lee. Thank you for spending this time with me. Take care of yourself because you absolutely deserve to age strong.